lazy. In the cut. In the cut.
What's up? Welcome. We are live. We are live. What's going on? Let's say hello. We got my guy Josue in the building. Jose Vargas.
Yeah, Jose, what's up, man? That's my client, Jose.
Yeah, make sure you say hello. If you guys are tuning in, YouTube is live right now, right? YouTube is live. Twitch will be in a little bit. Facebook is tapping in as well. But if you're watching this for the very first time, make sure you say hello. Make sure you drop a like. If you have questions, we could, if we have time for them, we'll definitely get to them. But ultimately, we got exciting episodes on our hands. If you're here for the very first time, we are live in the cut. This is episode number 33, and we have a special guest with us. I'm super excited about this episode because one, I'm an athlete. Shout Ashley. What's up, Ash?
This Rose.
So as an athlete, I could relate, and also as a business owner, I could also relate. And I love the conversation of both because I think there's a lot of qualities that go hand in hand, to be honest. So with that being said, I just want to introduce our guest. Hold on, there's actually a list. When I was writing this down, I felt like I was announcing like a WWE star or something. But just a little bit about our guest real quick. One, he is the NPC men's physique overall champ. Doesn't end there. I thought it did for a second. But he's also the IFBB Pro overall champ. 10 plus years in the fitness industry, sports and nutrition as well if you need help, health coach, weight loss, a bunch of different transformations. He's helped hundreds of people transform their lives and even helped a lot of them compete and win at a very high level. So he's not only killing it in the fitness industry himself, he's helping other people do the same. And on a business tip, this guy has been able to scale his brand over 100K followers on Instagram, and he's doing a lot of big things in the fitness industry. So welcome our guest, my guy David. What's going on? Welcome.
Yay. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for the opportunity. It's actually my first time being on a podcast. I've gotten a few opportunities to show up, and just being busy with work and competing, I hadn't had the opportunity to do it. So it's real dope to be here for the first time and be able to share my story with you guys. So yeah, I mean, basically everything you said, man. I appreciate that. Where'd you even get that information from?
I've been doing my homework, man. Get a reporter, as they say. But for a lot of people that don't know who you are, again, he's not only passionate about the bodybuilding industry and fitness. This dude is serious about the game in the business as well. But for those who don't know, your story, I like taking it back, right? Because
Right.
I like learning. I learn best with people's stories. People don't really see the back end story, but they see you on that stage with the trophy saying, they're like, damn, I could be there one day. Not knowing that like you were in that same position a couple of years ago, could have been sooner. So, but yeah, just give them a little bit about your backstory and how you got started in, how you even got started in fitness. I did see some crazy before and after pictures. So I'm sure there's
Like
stories.
my own transformation.
Yeah,
right?
how you got into it, and then we'll transition to the business aspect.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I've been training. To me was something I started out as a hobby. I think that's how most people start, right? You just want to get in shape. I grew up. I'm the youngest out of 5, right? So, in the house, I was the one who was eating up everything, eating up all the munchies. So I packed on some weight. By the time I was like 14, 15, honestly, what got me into fitness was I actually had a doctor's appointment. And my mother took me in, and I was a little overweight. And, the guy was just like, pretty much check your diet, eat better. Is this where you want to be later on down the road? And for some reason, man, it just stuck to me. And I remember maybe a couple of days later,
How old were you?
I was like 14, 15.
Oh, wow.
I was going up the stairs in school, and I kind of felt like I was going to pass out. I ended up coming back maybe like a week later to the same doctor, and he ended up giving me a little asthma pump. So that was like a little wake-up call, early in the game. And then my older brothers were in amazing shape. So kind of following their footsteps, I was like, all right, let me just join the gym. Still my current gym to this day. Been there for 16 years, man. BQE, bro.
I didn't know that was that old.
Yeah.
Shout out to BQE.
Word. Shout out to BQE, man.
Hit
That's where
the check BQE.
that's where it all started for me, man. And from there, it was just, at that time, I grew up in a very strict household. Single mother, 2 jobs, taking care of the household. She really set up the example, and the only thing I was able to do is pretty much work out. So to me, I was like, I can't really leave the house much. Moms would call and be like, yo, where are you? I'd be like, I'm at the gym. So it just became like the only place that I was able to go to around that age, right? Plus, I fell in love with it really quick. I'll say maybe like a year in, by the time I was like 17, I started to see results. And as a kid, I was just like, wow, like I'm getting a little good at this, let's see how far I could take it. By the time I was like 18, 19, man, I fell in love with it. Soon, right after that, I got a personal training license. Shout out to NASM. In my opinion, at that time, it was like one of the best fitness programs to be able to get your personal training license. I was able to find, jobs anywhere. I've worked with a few gyms.
You were looking for work already. Once you were like, yo, I'm tapped. Like, this is it. I want to.
Yeah, man, because, again, coming from the transition of being the chubby kid in the crib, brothers making fun of me, all that. By the time I'm 18, 19, I was able to build a pretty solid physique through my consistency, So by 18, 19, I was like, let me make it like, as a job and do it as a hustle. I was making money. Nice. I was right out of high school. And I started to pack on some clients right away. I worked for a couple of local gyms, names like Equinox, New York Sports Club. I even did some training at the BQE. And I just kept going, man. It was just, for me, fitness was something that it was always there for me. Doesn't matter what I was going through. It was always my place of peace. If I had any personal issues or anything going on in my crib or in my personal life, it was just a place I could go to and just kind of just let it all out. Turn the negative into a positive, right?
I feel that.
What really, honestly, changed my whole perspective of life was actually something real personal. I've actually never got to share this.
Wow.
I was 21 and was actually on vacation. Started out as a great story, right? Had an older sister who lived out there. And at the time, she had opened up a gym. Her husband basically bought her a gym. So she knew I was in the industry. She's like, oh, man, I got to get my little brother in here, This is his thing. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let me go out there and see what opportunity comes from this, right? So I traveled down to Colombia. That's where I was born, native country, right? Shout out to Colombia. So I go out there to try to help my sister out, kind of like upscale the gym. As a business owner, right? 21 years old, you got the opportunity to be a business owner. I thought I was set. So getting there, one of the things that really kind of just changed my whole life was nothing went as planned, right? And it's funny, I'll get into that later, which is the reason why my company is called God's Plan. Nothing went as planned, right? So I'm there, I'm registering papers, coming as new business owner, 21 years old, big dreams. And obviously I'm on vacation. So I'm also in the middle of, getting to know the business, helping around.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm having fun. I'm linking back up with my family and then, going to beaches and hanging out. In the middle of this hanging out, I began to experience like some pain on my leg. Thought nothing of it. I'm like, yeah, maybe I tripped. I was going hiking. I was probably swimming at the beach, whatever. I was looking for a reason, like where could this come from? The pain got so bad, I ended up going into an emergency room. When I get there, the doctor's like, oh, it's nothing. You probably maybe got bit by a mosquito or something that, we went to I went to the rainforest, wherever. Something must have happened to you while you was hanging out. Didn't end there. A couple of days later, it just kept on getting worse and worse and worse. So I went right back to the hospital. I went to a different one to see if they tell me something different. They told me the same thing. Oh, no, it's not a big deal. It just looks like, you have some bruising. Maybe you hit yourself, whatever. They gave me antibiotics. So now it's been like 2 weeks. Nothing. I took the antibiotics. The pain got worse. I started to get a fever. I'm like, oh, man, this is not a good look. I'm on vacation. I'm not home. And I started to get a little worried. So I go right back to the emergency room. By now it's been, maybe 3 weeks in? Something like that. And yeah, the news that I got there was just, it was life-changing. Basically, I'm sitting down. There's a doctor there who actually flew in from Miami. The guy was called in to do some sort of like delicate surgery on someone else, and he just happened to be there. So he heard, there's a young man that's visiting from New York City. He's been coming in and out. He's had some sort of issue, and maybe they called him to take a look to see what was going on. So the guy looks at me, asks me a little bit about myself. What are you doing here? This, and that. Kind of takes a look at my leg, and I just saw his face. This guy looks like he's the man. Like obviously everyone's calling him. Whatever he must say, he must know what he's doing. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna take a sample. So he cuts me open a little bit, takes a little sample. It's like, I want to see if it's what I'm thinking. So he already had an idea. Leaves come back maybe about an hour or two. I was nervous as hell. So when he comes back, closes the door behind him, brings maybe like 3 or 4 other doctors. And I was like, oh shit. It's getting serious. Plus I felt like my breathing, I wasn't fully, how do you say that? It was almost like I was kind of passing out. It was like dizzy. I wasn't coherent, right? So I'm listening to this guy. He's like, you're 21. You look healthy. But I'm going to tell you right now, like, call whoever is important to you. Obviously, I'm thinking like, shit, like my mother's back in New York. What's going on? And obviously, you don't want to just pick up the phone, call your mother, and like make her freak out. Like, before anything, just tell me what's going on. He's like, I remember clearly it was a Wednesday. And he's like, so basically, it's as serious as you might not even make it to Saturday. And I'm like, wait, what? What the hell's going on here? I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm flying in, and the whole, businessman, this, and that. And he's like, no, I'm serious. He's like, you have something, it's a flesh-eating bacteria. It's like, if this gets to your bloodstream, you literally be dead within 72 hours. Wow. I almost passed out, bro. I'm hearing this guy telling me all this, and I'm just like, no, man, this guy's got to be joking.
I just turned 21.
I just turned 21. I have these dreams. At that time, I was in great shape. I had a bunch of clients, and I was actually already thinking of competing. So in my head, I was like, I'm going to do this, go back to New York, establish a business, go back, compete, and kind of do what I'm doing now back then. That was my plan, right? But again, that's not the plan that God had for me. And it's just funny because, again, I was 21 and that plan didn't really get to unravel till about maybe 6 or 7 years after, this whole situation. But to cut the long story short, I'm looking at a guy who's telling me I either, cut you open right now, put you in a surgery room and see what we could do, or I'm telling you straight up, you got about 72 hours. What do you do?
Decision.
So obviously I'm nervous. I got a million things going through my head. First thing I did, I picked up, called my mother, told her what was going on. Obviously she was freaking out. That didn't make anything better. She was in a plane next morning. She came through and obviously was there with me the whole way. From there, I spent about 9 months in the hospital. I was in a coma.
Colombia.
Yeah, this was all in Colombia, which made it even scarier because you're not at home. You're not in New York.
Yeah.
Exactly. But luckily, you know what, man, the medical system over there, those guys. I was actually grateful at the amount of attention and love and respect that they showed me.
Nice.
They were on top of me, and it was very emotional, man. I still get emotional because, like you said, people see you or they see my Instagram or, they see me on stage. And it's like, oh, wow, look at the discipline this guy's got, or look at the physique, or he won that show. And, I love and respect all my clients. They show me so much admiration, but they don't, they have no idea about this. I put a little bit one time on Instagram, but I never got into details the way I'm getting into details with you. So, that right there just is really like the force, the drive that pushes me every day. Like, God gave me a second chance. And spending 9 months in a hospital where I didn't get up from that bed. Like I lived on that bed for 9 months. And when that happens to you, you begin to, you really know what not to take for granted. Like, I couldn't brush my own teeth, couldn't scratch my own back. The bed becomes your home. You can't get up, you can't walk, you can't do anything. You have to rely on whoever's around you to do things for you. And as a young man, as someone, who's like into fitness, and it's so humbling that, at that time, I remember I have a lot of love and respect for nurses and for the medical staff, especially in that hospital. Because again, without them, I would ask them for water. I would ask them for whatever I needed, like anything that you could just get up right now from this chair and do. Imagine you can't do for the next 9 months. Right. So that breaks you, man, and that turns you into a whole different human being. And when you're finally out of that, you're a whole new person, man. Yeah, that's where I got my faith from. That's where I had a real encounter with God. That's the reason why I named my company God's Plan Fitness. That's the reason why I encourage all of my clients the way that I do, and they know if they're here and you guys are tuned in, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I seen it live. I seen it live. And yeah, there's a lot in that story. I'm
not gonna lie, that was actually hard for me to say.
I'm
not a shy person,
yeah,
I'm not like nervous, and I was nervous to let that out. So I'm just being real with you guys.
So if you've ever been in a room, you guys been in a room with David a bunch of times, but like it was new to me when we was hanging out at was it a Five Guys? Mm-hmm. And because I've only seen you so many times, a handful of times, but you could hear the passion, and now it makes sense on where it comes from. Yeah. With the story that goes hand in hand. And there's a quote that actually this was actually your Instagram caption, and it kind of makes sense. And I'm gonna read it, and then you can kind of give me some background on where you were going with it or where your thought was. But you said this was on like one of your recent. It was actually the post that you sent me with the pic. I asked you for a picture. It says, I look at all the fitness influencers on IG. Yes, some touch on a few points on keeping it somewhat real in the industry, but the majority of it is straight BS. Right? You all just get to see the few likes, and to look cool. But the truth about this shit is that it's much more. There is no balance. Yeah. And anyone up there doing it at a pro level, or who's doing it at this type of major level, who's ever doing that at a major level could relate, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of and again, I relate that to entrepreneurship too, because it looks good on social media. Obviously, a lot of us don't post the vulnerability stuff on social media, or people just don't see it as often, let's just say. But when you posted that, I felt that. I was like, yo, people aren't really, they don't hear that story. They didn't see what goes behind it, or what even drives the, so it reminds me of when people are like, yo, well, why are you at the gym so late? Or why are you at the gym so early, or whatever time, whatever
the
time.
Backstory, what they don't get to see, the process that,
Exactly.
That goes for any field,
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned that to you the last time we was chilling here.
Yeah.
And every field is, so if you notice, if you go down my Instagram, most fitness influencers, they post like every day. I like to post stories. If I post something on my wall, if you read all my captions, I have to be like going through something that reminds me of a time, and it brings out that emotion. And I feel like my posts are like, it's like my diary.
Yeah.
So that's why I always feel like I really speak. And I love that, because sometimes like you'll see in the comments where, whether it's a client or just somebody who's been showing support for a long time, they'll be like, man, like your words are dope. Mm-hmm. And I just honestly think that they're real. Like they're an experience that I've gone through, and it's coming with a real emotion. That post specifically, I was actually getting ready to compete to earn my pro card. Now, why I wrote that post was because, so I've done a total of 9 shows, right? And as an amateur, just to give you a little story of how it works when you're competing or you're trying to become an IFBB pro, you have to compete locally first, just like Ashley did, right? As an amateur, which is, where everyone starts. You start at the bottom, right? So you sign up for a local show. All states have it. They usually happen like all throughout the year. You choose your local show. You hire a coach, like, what my clients do. So if you guys need a coach to get ready for any competitions or just lifestyle, make sure you follow my Instagram and hit me a DM, and then we'll take it from there. So you hire a coach. You do a preparation, very intense, whether it's 12, 14, 16 to 18 weeks, depending on your level of fitness, where your body currently is. Obviously, some people need less time, some people need more. You show up at this show, and hopefully you either get first place or second place. Now, this show has to qualify you to go towards a national show. Again, only if you get first or second place. So that's every amateur's goal. Let me do a local show. Let me kill it. Let me try to land, obviously try to win. But if you get second, they'll give you the chance to go to the nationals, right? Now, when you're in nationals, that's a whole nother ballgame, right? Because that's everybody in the country trying to get that pro card. So that was another thing where I just feel like God always humbles you in the middle of every process, especially when you're going to be good at something and you're going to get far, you're going to be humbled somewhere, whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end, but you're not going to get that prize until you're humbled. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that was because when I was showing up to these local shows, I was killing it. I was winning overalls, first place. Even if I did bad, it would be like third place out of like 15, 20 guys. I always did well. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to this national show. I'm going to kill it too. Like, I had that champion spirit. I'm going to win. It took me 6 tries to turn pro. And again, these shows are extremely difficult, but anyone who's consistent enough will get there, just like I did, right? The funny thing is, out of those 6 shows, I just kept on like climbing the ladder. I went from 6th place to 5th place to 4th place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, nice. And I was like right there about to give up. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh man, should I do this last show? Like, it's exhausting. I mean, you saw the process, right? You went through it, personally at home.
For sure.
Forget the summer. I had no summer. Even for my birthday, there was no cake. There was none of that. So when that posed, that's what I meant. Like, there is no balance. And that's okay. Like, when you're really trying to transform your life and achieve something you've never done before, it's okay to not have balance, at least during the time where you're trying to achieve that goal.
That season,
right. And some people, get the balance, go out on, like, no. Champions don't think like that. We don't care about nothing except executing, getting there, putting in the work, and picking up that prize. I have a quote that I love. And I always say that the trophy is won when no one's looking during the times of training.
Yeah.
The competition is just where you go to pick it up.
Mm.
You know, and during that phase, there is no balance. Like, I don't want balance. You know, I'll text my friends like, yo, bro, I'll see you in 16 weeks. And they know. They'll be like, oh, D's back in competing mode. Or my family, if there's food, whatever it is, like you don't want balance, man. For what?
Right.
You get the balance afterwards. Once the trophy's in the crib, then you go out, then you celebrate. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what that post was about, where they'll show the body, they'll show the trophy, but they will never tell you this.
Yeah.
You know, like that Friday when you know, when your girl, when your family, whoever it is wants to go hang out and you're like, I'm sorry, I can't. You know, and that's where it's important to have the right people next to you. Like, you know, these transformations, this sport is all about having a strong mind and being able to literally control the environment around you.
Right.
Because the majority of people, it's normal. It's human nature. We let our environments affect us, or circumstance usually affects us. It's human psychology, right? You got to be extremely strong-minded to be able to, I'm not going to eat this, you know. If I'm having a piece of boring white fish with 5 pieces of asparagus, and you're right here having a nice cheeseburger or some tacos, I just, you know, I just gotta be like, bro, really? Like, go ahead, enjoy that. You know, I'll have that in 18 weeks.
I was just, so speaking on, you know, you were talking about, you know, you were people already knew when you were in prep mode, right? Whether it was like you were ignoring calls or you weren't coming out and things like that. You know, what's the conversation like with your, you know, with your loved ones, with the people around you when you're going into a prep mode, when you're about to, you know, again, go into this mode where it's like Mamba mentality. I'm going after this championship, and, you know, because going after that, you know, this prize, you know, there's the people that are along the way that aren't coming after it with you. They could kind of be like, you know, you know, oh man, this dude's different now. You know, he's acting different. He's acting, you know, what's that conversation like?
So it's funny you say that, right? Because before you try to change your life or get into your project, whatever that project is, there's something I always say to my clients in the group chat, like, try to apply all these principles in whatever it is you do, like fitness or not. And exactly what you're saying, you know, I remember, like, when I start the process, I'll scroll down Instagram, right? And I'll see, like you said, the Mamba mentality, and I'll see all these entrepreneurs and all these successful people, and they'll talk. And because I was not pursuing my purpose, or actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. As an individual, as a human being, if you're not pursuing your purpose or you don't know your purpose, it's okay to feel a little lost. And that's why when someone speaks like that, you kind of be like, man, this person's crazy. Or like, what are they doing? Like, they're so focused. It's almost like they're insane.
Right.
You don't see the vision, so you don't understand it. So your first thing to do is to make a negative comment on something you don't recognize. And I remember that being me. I would be like, what are these guys talking about? Like, all this motivational stuff, man. Like, they can't be like this in real life.
Yeah.
And then when you become that person, you're like, it's like a slap to the face. It's like, I get it now. I understand. You're walking on your purpose. Mm-hmm. You have a reason to wake up. You don't need an alarm clock. You have a reason to be the last one to leave, the first one to be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, if somebody asked me, right, like, are you disciplined? Anyone would be like, oh yeah, man, he's got discipline. But in fact, there's a lot of things I'm not disciplined in. Mm-hmm. I just really love this. So I don't even think about it. It's like human nature.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when I'm doing this, it's just, I don't know, like, you wake up, you brush your teeth, right?
It's like breathing to you at this
literally point. It becomes that. And again, I really do believe it's just about pursuing your purpose. When you're walking on your purpose, you have, like, it's like an unlimited fire that just doesn't shut off. Like, only you can turn it off by saying, nah, I'm not going to get up from my bed and you know, go do something about it.
Mm. Yeah, because especially, right, you said it took you 6 shows.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's a bunch of people, you know, maybe not at that point in your life, but like, especially early on, people's like, man, how many more of these are you going to do? How many, you know, how much more time you going to spend at the gym? You know, again, maybe not at the time you're doing it, but some part of your career, if you aren't reaching your goals fast enough for other people, they're kind of just like, yo, how long you going to keep living like this? Because it's not, not healthy. It's not whatever the case may be. You know? So there's a conversation that has to be had, you know, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because it happens a lot with early entrepreneurs. It happens a lot with people that are, the young person who's 21 that's seeing the industry for the first time. I'm like, yo, you know what? I do want to be like David. I do want to be like, whoever, Ashley, whoever the case may be, they see on social media and they're like, you know what? I'm inspired to do it. But now you have to have a conversation with people.
Yes. So you know what? Going back to fully answer the first original question that you said, I think it depends on the individual, right? Like again, going back to, I wasn't this disciplined or this into walking my purpose as I am now. And I don't think no one is. You either bump into it. Like, I mean, lucky the guy who's 16, 17 and already knows exactly what he wants to do in life, but that's, we're not all going down the same path. What you said for me was very easy. And I'm going to say why. I'm not saying like I regret my younger years. I would never say that because they've turned me into the individual that I am today. But if I could do something about it, I would have probably stopped like wasting time a little bit early. And what I mean by that was that maybe the environment that I chose to hang out from like 18 to maybe 23, 24-ish, I'm not gonna lie, maybe 25-ish.
It wasn't on purpose, Kyle.
Listen, you grew up in New York, and if you grew up in the neighborhoods of New York, Latino family, going to high schools in the area, let's be honest, you're gonna be hanging around tough crowds, and you're gonna get some influence. And even as a strong-minded young individual that I was, still am, coming from a home where, again, as I mentioned, it was like a very strict traditional home. You're gonna have some peer pressure. You're gonna have some negative influences, and you're gonna slip up, and that's okay. I know I did. I know around like the time of the accident, it's very hard to be yourself when you have to. I got out the hospital like 130 pounds, bro. I didn't even recognize myself. Psychologically, it affected me. I went in there like a beast, came out like all broken down, twitching with like a bunch of stitches. You know what I mean? So it put me in a zone where I was like, let me just resort to hanging out with my boys. And that was my every weekend move. The funny thing is, bro, that hanging out, just drinking, basically wasting my time, as a young, not having anything to do individual, right? I just got to a point, man, where I was like 25 and I was like, no, this isn't it. And all I thought about was like, God gave me a second chance. I got up from that hospital bed and I'm not going to waste it. I just got sick and tired of getting drunk every weekend, of wasting the talents that I knew God had instilled in me. I was helping people, even through the middle of being down, trying to overcome, as we all have our demons, right? Recovering from the surgeries that I had, the accident that I had. I would still have some level of discipline. I still had some clients. I still had people tell me, "Oh man, this," but they didn't know the dark side that I was dealing with. Like they didn't know that Saturdays I was in my head thinking stupidly, wasting my time. And honestly, man, just one day I got sick and tired. I got sick and tired of being Monday and me being hungover. Thursday night, I was just looking for what to do Friday. Sick and tired of just waiting for the weekends to celebrate. And I remember at that time, it's funny that you say that, I lost a lot of friendships. I had a relationship at that time that I had to pretty much get out of because everything in my environment was just setting me up for failure. And as you said, it was hard to be in that environment because we're human and we have love for the people around us.
For sure.
But it was even harder to have to compromise my happiness of wanting to go to the gym, wanting to compete. When my whole environment, all they knew how to do was, yo, come through. Yo, I got you with a free bottle. Yo, I got you with a free this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was bringing them all this motivation. Yo, let's go to the gym. Let's get out of this environment. It's only so long before you realize, like, positive energy is very influential, but so is negative.
For sure. And
when you're giving positivity in the wrong environment, it's going to drain you. So I had no choice but to kind of just, you know what? I just completely got to remove myself from everything at the time, from relationships, from friends. And I went through a pretty rough transition where, again, everyone who I grew up with, literally one day to another, I said, fuck this.
Wow.
No one was going to come and compete with me.
Right.
Because if I go down my phone book, all I had was high school friends who were promoters, club owners, my clients were into the nightlife.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either I did that or I pursued my dream, which was being a pro, having my own, company, training all these clients, starting out my apparel, spending all the time I do between meal prep and answering clients, competing myself, me preparing for these shows. I can't afford to go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday and waste my time and be hungover Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or have conversations with people that when I was talking to them, they'll be like, bro, why are you doing this? Like,
Right.
gym, really, on a Friday night?
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is my dream. This is my goal. They just didn't understand. So as hard as it is to get yourself out of that, it's easy when you have, again, your purpose. It's a lot stronger, and it'll pull you right out.
Sometimes I think that conversation is needed too, right? That little, you know what, you shouldn't be doing that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
They say LeBron James. I love hearing it. When he said the story, he says before a game he'll be inside the arena shoot around, and he'll look for somebody that's heckling him, like saying that, oh yeah, you can't drop whatever 25 points. Oh yeah, I can't drop 25. Thank you for that. Put that in my pocket. Let's go.
That's the same thing that pushed me with the second question you said. Like, the truth is that I've seen it. I've seen actually friends that I made in this industry that were trying to become pro with me just be like, fuck this, and just drop it. I get it. It's exhausting. You have a girlfriend, you have a family, people are inviting you, and you're not winning. You're not winning, but that's the difference between the champion and the first place person. I guarantee you that person kept going. See, I didn't land first place right away.
Yeah.
Again, 6th, 5th, 4th, and then suddenly first at a show that I had no idea I was going to win. It's the biggest national show. It's called the North American Championships. There was like over 1,200 competitors. So I'm not going to lie to you. As confident as I was, I knew the tremendous amount of work that I put in because of my past experiences. It's only human nature for that little doubt to try to kick in. And I was like, I'm not going to go for what? I just went a whole year, literally from like March to like December. Like, come on, like your brain starts to mess with you, bro.
Yep.
It's literally like a little voice, like, nah, don't go. I was this close to not going. And something in my heart, man, just say, you know what, just go. Just go. And it wasn't until I got to like the event, they do like the whole hotel and the scene and all that I got there, and I was like, there was a good feeling in my heart.
Nice.
Right. And it was like that I broke past that.
This is the one that you won?
It's the one that I won after the 6 tries. This was my 6th one.
Nice.
And again, when I got there, I was like, all right, I beat the voice. All right. Like, I beat the voice that almost kept me home and said, nah, give up. Because I had just done 2 in that season. This was my 3rd one.
Right.
The season before that, which was 2020, I did 3. So it's like, damn, 5. And I'm like 3rd, 4th. And I'm like, nah, this is the hardest one of all of them. Like, for some reason, my head told me, like, you're going to go and get 3rd or 4th. And it's not that I didn't believe in myself. It's just that's human nature because you're so used to it. Most people will be like, I'll try next year.
I see it.
Something just said, go, man. And I won. And, all the glory to God. It was a really big win. And
Let's go.
It changed things up for me, man. So
that's awesome, man. And wait, did you say you went to Byron, or you say you went to Byron?
No.
Oh, okay.
Her sister went to
What school did you go to?
I went to Arts and Business, High School for Arts and Business. It's in Corona.
Got you. Yeah. I'm familiar. Yeah. Okay. YouTube, what is going on? Twitch, we got Twitch in the building. You can look at some of these names. You might know these people, but this guy right here, it's a good-looking dude. Vanessa's in here. Super Hispanic name. I don't want to butcher it, but these is definitely probably some people that are tapping in from your camp. But Vanessa says that boring white fish.
Yeah, you know what's funny? That the boring stuff is what gets you the results. That's actually what I tell my clients. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
how so? What do you mean?
Well, because it's really the exercises that you don't like, the food that you don't like to eat. It's everything you don't like to do is the reason why you're not changing. You know. So I always encourage them. Anything you don't like to do that's hard, that you hate doing. Once you start doing it, that's when you're gonna break your plateau and move up to the next level.
I saw this quote. I thought it was fun. I thought it was actually fitting. It says, and this was, I think, on your, I don't know where you had it on a flyer or something, but it says, this is for the flyer that like that you were sharing with people that are, I guess, inquiring to work with you as
Okay.
a coach. And you put this quote on it. Says, "We start as soon as you drop your excuses and decide to make a change." I was like, damn, that's you putting that on the front page, huh?
You know, the funny part is that I did that like when I first started in like 2014, 2015. And I first launched the website. And the other day I was looking at that and I was like, damn, this is a little too hard. So let me change that. But then I said, nah, I'm going to leave it because it was the truth. It was what I felt.
No, I love that, because then you also kind of sifting through who you don't want to work with.
Right.
You know, at least that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was great, man. But so I do want to transition a little bit as far as the business part goes, because again, I think there's a lot of correlations with building at a high level of as an athlete and building as a high level as an entrepreneur, and you happen to be doing both. Again, you scaled your Instagram over six figures. You have hundreds of clients. I guess let's start with your client. I guess your introduction to to fitness was personal training. That was like one of
yeah. Well, my intro was like I told you, going to the doctor as a kid, and he was like, "Bro, like, this really what?" It was a young guy. I'll never forget. He was
that
like,
was the reason why you did.
I was really the reason, and then I was like getting asthma pumped, and it was pretty bad, man. I'll post up a photo so you guys can see it. Being the chunky kid in the family is not cool,
right?
Especially when your brothers are like shredded, ripped, and everybody's like in shape.
I gotta meet your brothers then. But what I'm saying is the first time that you got paid from the industry was by personal training.
The first time that I started to make money in the fitness game was definitely training clients. As soon as I turned 18, I remember my mother actually gifted me that. It was the NASM certification. And when I was 18, being a personal trainer was hard. Mm-hmm. Today, you go and you just go online and get whatever, and then you just start training clients. That's a whole nother topic. We talk about that next time. But back then, it was like the test was hard. You had to read a big anatomy book. It was taken more serious, I guess, the educational. This was, I was 18. I'm 32 now. So 2008, 2009.
Wow. You took the real test.
That's the one I wanted because it was the most recognized. I had already asked local gyms. I wanted to work with Equinox. I wanted to work with New Sports Club, like all the cool gyms in the area. So I wanted that one, the one that they all took. So I got it. And then I started to just go. And one of the things about me was I will never say that I'm somebody until I have results to speak for them. And I guarantee you my clients could back me up on this. I did not say I was a personal trainer until I looked like one, And it was because I was going on to all these gyms and I would be like, that's the trainer. Like they would look like they need trainers. So I wanted to be that guy, the guy who showed up and trained the trainers.
Nice.
And it was quick. I remember I started with clients. I would start to rack up and I was getting people results. And, most gyms that I went to, I ended up managing the personal training department. And it was all due to the fact that I always say this in all my Instagram posts that results talk, everything else is just noise. Because when you show up in the fitness industry and you have the results to speak for it, most likely you're the one that's going to attract, the clientele. So that's how I started to scale, making clients. I would do a lot of free work outside of personal training. And this was like 2008. I would write diets.
You on top of working at these gyms?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I always envisioned like owning something. My mother is probably the greatest example of what hard work means. Again, as I told you, she took on 2 jobs, raised 5 kids, nothing. We never lacked anything. So seeing a woman do this, I would just always be like, I got to own something one day. And one day I got to be a business owner and I got to get back to this, So no matter where I worked, I always did something with the thought of, I want to work here. I want to scale myself up, but enough to get me out so I work for myself.
Nice.
Do you see what I'm saying?
And I want to talk about that transition too, because a lot of us, like, as a barber, you work in a barber shop and then eventually the seed gets planted and maybe I'm opening up a shop one day. So you were scaling, you were working at the gyms, you were taking your clients, and just hustling, right? Growing up, single mom?
Single mother.
I know
she
my
played
mom's
both
single
roles.
mom too, yeah. So I know exactly that feeling. It's like, I know I got to give back. I don't know what it is. I just got to give back because she working too hard.
That seed.
Yeah, it was. My mom's like 4 foot tall with shoes on, so to see her like working, I'm just like, I got to give back some way, somehow. So I get that. And the ownership part is big too, because I've seen, I used to work at this school up the block. I don't know if you guys circled this block here. I used to work up the school, and I tell this story. IS 125. I used to work.
I know where it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it's right up the block from me.
Literally up the block.
Literally on the other side of this block. And I used to work there, and I had gotten, long story short, that it was my introduction to getting me to be an entrepreneur, because long story short, I didn't want to get fired for something that I had no control over. Like being fired with something that's not your fault is like the worst feeling, because I had no control. But long story short, that it made me like, all right, cool. I don't want to be in this position no more. I want to be able to own it, so nobody could, tell me otherwise. But I say that to say, it definitely shapes you, So Ashley goes,
I was just putting my live up, so
no, you're good. Ash goes, the worse the food tastes, the better you look.
That is a fact. That's a fact. That is true, man. And again, it's from my own experience. I know that when I started to do the exercises I hated, eat the foods I hated, that's when my body turned from being a personal trainer or just looking okay in pictures to becoming a competitor and standing out from the rest of the crowd. All the stuff you hate to do, I promise you, if you hate white fish, if you hate the cardio, if you hate training an hour and a half, that's what you got to do. That's just what it takes. Yeah. If you don't do it, you just don't want it.
So going back to scaling, the brand, what was that transition to ownership that you said, hey, you know what, I'm going to go this route, create my company, create my brand. What was that transition like?
So again, coming from being, the local personal trainer and just racking up clients, doing side work, I always had the idea like, all right, I got to come up with a logo, come up with a company. The experience I had in the hospital was what kind of sparked that, right? I was like, I don't want to go and work all my life for someone. I never thought it would happen that fast. I'm not going to lie, which is why I love the MPC and the IFBB, because they've given me a platform to be able to grow from. So as I scaled doing the personal training, my side work probably helped me, especially the free work. It helped me probably more because I was writing out these diets, these nutrition plans, and the internet wasn't the same like when I first started. So I would literally print these things out and, hand out these plans. Today I send it in like a little pamphlet. It looks great. They just open up the text message and that's it. Nice. But I would have like my backpack and just literally go around and like meet my client here, meet them there, and just kind of like, scale up. And if someone would be like, hey, my girl wants to join, I'd be like, you know what, I'll do it for free. Because I already knew, I believed in myself. I already had enough clients. I already had enough transformations to show them like, I could do this myself. Right. I couldn't do it in the gym because, that's just, you have to leave a profit for them. So what happened was around 2017, shout out to my coach. His name is Fakri Mubarak. Much love. At that time, he owned supplement stores. He owned one in Forest Hills, one in Astoria. It's called NXT. And I just wanted to be more in the industry. And, he was the guy to go to. He's been a pro for years. He's a GOAT in the industry, man. So he showed me mad love. He literally put me to work in one of his stores. And it was more hands-on. I was now seeing way more people. Customers already knew his brand, knew who he was. And he, it
was a good partnership.
Right. It was a really good partnership. From there, I was able to pick up even more clients, to expose my physique more, have more conversations within fitness, network a lot more. And I was just like, man, this is really picking up. Like literally every day I would meet someone, and whether I was getting ready for a show, the conversation would start like, wow, you look great. And then from there, I'll be like, yeah, like I'll coach you, I'll coach you. And I'll coach you started with 5, 10, 15, 20. I got to a point where I had almost 200 clients.
Do you think, not to cut you off, do you think it was because they saw your physique?
Absolutely.
Easy.
And I go right back to what I was saying, that if you want to talk about something, you have to represent it, especially in fitness. It just, your physique is the showcase to your work in fitness. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I'm not saying like it's everything. There's a lot of guys who retired and you might look at them and be like, man, that guy doesn't even work out, but that guy has prime. Probably built an insane physique. So he had the showcase for it. Right. And that's what you attract. The harder you work, the more discipline that's exposed through your physique, the more people are going to come up to you.
Sure.
And from there, man, I transitioned into working locally at gyms at the store to one day saying, like, it's time for me to register this LLC. I made it official. One of my friends at the time is also a businessman. Shout out to my boy, Ben. Thank you for that. He's like, yo, man, you got to do this on your own. I had no idea, right? I'm like a young dude, single mom, worked always. I'm in college at the time, by the way. So I had the part-time, full-time college, you know what I'm saying? And my boy's like, D, trust me. You know, he believed in me from day one. He's like, you have a gift. Go do this. I didn't do it. I was like, I don't know, like, because you lack, the understanding of what the LLC is and what this,
right.
all these big fears or whatever. He's like, give me info, bro. So he gifted me. He's like, I registered everything for you.
Wow.
I still have that video. This is
a friend right here.
Yeah. And he sent me a video, with the books, how when everything is done for you, it's like, here, bro, you're a businessman.
Official.
And I was like, oh. And then I had to take some courses, learn the game, how to run the LLC, the taxes, the this, the that. And there's a lot of fear that comes with that. Until this day, I talk about it. You think because, you've worked the 9 to 5 or the 3 to 11, whatever it is, which is perfectly okay. I did it. You're secured every Friday or every other Friday that you're going to get your check and you're going to, be comfortable paying your bills. That gives you a sense of peace to an extent, right? What happens when you become an entrepreneur is that you're not going to get anything on Friday, right? So
you traded in your 9 to 5 from a 9 to 12 at midnight.
Yeah, and I would get my clients now hit me up 2-3 in the morning. I'll be like, oh damn, like you realize you're working 24/7 now.
Yep.
But it feels great because that is you. Like this is your thing. So because you have so much drive, you just really don't care. So I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'm a businessman now, right? So,
and I also want to point the fact that you was already putting the work in before you had the LLC, because a lot of people is like, they're not making the move because they haven't created the company yet.
Right. And the thing is that's why I think it's so important what I told you. I wouldn't call myself anything unless I developed something to show for. See, I could have done this coaching thing at like maybe 22, 23. I could have tried to do that, but I didn't feel I would provide the value.
I respect that.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to be a phony. I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to be out there like, oh, who's this guy think he is? Like, he doesn't even have that many clients or this and that. When I registered Gospel Fitness, everybody knew me. Like, yo, that's D. Like, he's sick. You know what I'm saying? And I just had so much love and support from, I was even able to bring back some of my old nightlife friends and get them in shape, so it felt good.
Yeah.
To be able to spark the hearts of others with my passion. And it was just like I was just pulling people, man. And again, all the glory goes to God. I wouldn't have done that without God's grace, bro.
No, that's so clearly a lot of it is, being humble enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to come offer y'all something when I have something to offer. Mm-hmm. And then I give you guys something to really buy. And exactly. Being humble, enough to the point where you have enough value to give to people and the results show. Let's talk about a lot of people right now are starting their personal brands, whether they're a trainer or they have merch or they, they're trying to be an fitness influencer, like so many different lanes, but if you had to start all over with 0 followers on IG and now you're using social media as a tool, as well as a, personal diary, personal journal at one point, how are you scaling your social media page?
So there's a lot. Wait, the question is, if I had to start from zero again?
From zero again.
I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat. Because now I know a little bit about how to start the game.
What would you do? What steps would you do to get back?
So I'll tell you a little bit of what worked for me and what some of my friends that are like, big time influencers who have coached me. As I mentioned to you last time, I have a couple of friends in the game that have shown me several systems. One of the best ways is the foundation, which is exactly what I've been talking about. You need to bring value to your audience. You need to be an authority at what you're offering. And all that means is, I'll give you an example. Let's just say that I wasn't in the shape I am and I'm sloppy, right? And I'm out here trying to get you like, yo, bro, I could transform you. Let's be honest. What would you do?
No, that's like me talking to a barber with a messed up face saying, hey, look, let me come cut your hair. Like, anybody else work here?
Right. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Make sure that you bring your value up so that you can provide your audience value. So when, I got my physique to the level I did, along with over 100 people that I had to show, I had the befores and afters.
Results.
Right, it's your resume. So now it's like, okay, don't believe me. Look at my client's results. Look at my results. So whatever field it is that you're doing, use your social media as your resume. Market yourself. Make videos. It doesn't matter who says what. Not everyone's going to support you. People are going to hate people. Who cares about that? Post. Show the world your talent. Show the world how your talent can transform someone's life, even if it's not fitness, right? Example, if you're giving out the best fades in the neighborhood, show it off. I mean, who doesn't like a fade? They're going to come through and be like, yo, Jay's the man for the fade. If you're not doing that, if you're not posting enough of dope content, you're not going to get exposure. So obviously, scale yourself up, show the world your talent, bring value through your talent, and show them what it could do for them. Like my Instagram, if you look at it, as much as I post my physique to showcase my physique, the main focus is my clients. Like, look at what I was able to help this person do. And then if you notice in the captions, especially with the befores and afters, I don't really talk about me because they're the ones that do the work.
I like that.
And I give a little feedback about, this is a single father who works 2 jobs and he's able to do
What's
this.
the excuse?
Right.
I love that.
So I try to tell them that without telling them that. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And then that goes for any field. Like, make sure that you kind of answer their questions with questions and like make them wonder, like, oh, this is the guy I gotta go to, man.
Yeah.
Other things that have helped me, support groups, networking. Network. Whoever's in your industry, that network and mentoring. So I would say drop your ego. And I'm telling you from my personal experience, because in my field, there's a lot of egos. Example, I noticed, for example, like male clients, right? If I approach a male client at the gym, most likely, because that's what it is, the alpha, the testosterone, right? They're going to be like, oh man, like I'm not going to learn from this guy. I've had that happen to me. And I'll just be like, whatever, cool. But they'll see me preparing for a show. And that same individual will be like, yo, damn. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should talk to this guy. So sometimes, like I said, your results will speak for you and they'll come to you and you'll be like, yeah, bro, absolutely. And then I'll start the conversation, like expose and network, right? And don't be afraid to reach out to a mentor. I know that for me to become a pro, I had to hire a pro, someone who's not only a pro, but had turned hundreds of other people's pro, which is my coach. That's the guy I wanted to work with, right? Because I wanted to get to a level where he had been, where he knows what's up. He knows the address, bro. Plain and simple. So, don't be afraid to reach out and get some mentors, expose your talent, let them know what value you can bring, make your page about them more than it is about you. And just network, man.
I love that. I actually really like that you kept your page all one. You kept your business and personal page and you kept it in one, because a lot of people have like a fitness page and then they have their business. It's kind of why I kept the barbershop and the podcast page on the same one too. I had kind of good advice to keep it all in the same home, but I love that. But to your point, yeah, finding a mentor and networking has been huge. Even people that aren't really, that you can't touch, can be your mentors. Like I don't physically have to like you might, like just following you on Instagram will already improve your
right. Right. And just not to cut you off there, but what you said is so important. So you should filter out things on your social, like if you're someone who's and you have an online business, you use your social media, especially Instagram. What you digest, what you put into, like you literally become what you see, what you read, what you eat, and everything. I have a thing where I legit filter the things I see.
The mute button
like
goes.
No, I'll just unfollow. I just
unfollow.
Legit unfollow, because you could fall into like this little trance in a way, bro, of seeing something negative that could literally discourage you if you let it. So you better off not even seeing that. So that's an advice I give. Like erase stuff. All I'm trying to say is I've spoken to clients. They'll sign up and they'll be killing it. And then I'll notice like, whoa, they're not reaching out, or something must have happened. And they'll be like, oh, it's that I started to post and people started to like comment negatively and this, like, filter all of them.
Yep.
Long story short, fuck them. Block them,
Yeah.
erase them. Don't listen. Anytime that you're on your way to doing anything good, you're going to get nothing but negative feedback. And that's just going to tell you who's next to you, who supports you, and who doesn't.
Very true. Very true. Let's see what's going on here. Great info.
Somebody fell out.
No. It might be next door. The door is there. We do have some questions. I actually have a question or two left myself, but I definitely want to get to the questions for the people that are on here. I see. Do you know who this is?
No.
They coach. Don't say that out loud. So, but yeah. So, as a matter of fact, here, let's get to this question.
Well,
if you guys,
the reason I say that, I usually know all of, like, I know their names and stuff, but yeah.
No, so let's get to this question. If I butcher your name, I promise you, it's not on purpose. But Chrisika Harper says, "Hey, coach, if you go to the beginning, what would you do different your first year of business or your first year building your brand?" Matter of fact, here we go. And if you're in here, Chrisika, hopefully we answer your question. But yeah.
What would I do different? Man, I think a lot, but I think the most important thing I would do, but again, I was brand new. I was just learning through the process, so I had no idea. Now that I know how important marketing yourself is online, if you're trying to start an online business, I would definitely go back and show more of the behind the scenes of my journey.
Document.
Right. Like actually I have a Michael right here. So big shout out to Michael, man. He's my videographer. I got tons of love for this guy. He became my client, and then through a client, he became my friend. And now he's God's Plan Fitness official videographer. And his talent is crazy. I'll put his Instagram on later. But I wish I had someone like him from the beginning. And I met a few people, but they just didn't have the discipline that this guy has. Like, honestly, he makes me feel like I don't have discipline. He's like, "Yo, D, I'm out here. I'm like, dude, I'm training. We can't film right now." So get yourself someone who's willing to help you market and believes in your brand, and you both help each other, make it.
I mean, honestly, even if you can't, you might have to be that one person in the gym with the tripod.
Yep.
In the selfie.
I would have even done that. But I was so caught up in the process and learning it that today I'm like, oh man, if I would have shown them this, like, now we're talking about it. So, we're giving the people like a little bit more about my personal life, but I would have liked to show them more from the beginning.
Yeah. I like the behind the scenes stuff, like
it's organic.
Yeah.
And they could relate more and they could see like, oh man, this is just a normal guy. Like,
right.
I can do that too.
It's funny. I even just like seeing the process of the night before, the show. Everybody's getting tan, and it's like that part. It's funny, speaking about tan, I saw who's the one we went to go eat with that day. What was his name? Gio. His name Gio? No. What's his name?
Oh, Jose.
Oh,
the kid that was competing too. With the hat? Yeah. Jose.
I saw him the other day. This was maybe yesterday. And he didn't have the tan. He was a lot lighter.
Different.
I said, "Hold on, is this the same dude?" So and that's just like a real, another behind the scene thing. But there's so many different things behind the scenes. So, so to answer the question, you would document more of the behind the scenes process. Yeah,
for sure. Because you could show people that are probably going through the same thing as you that get into something and just pull the trigger, like literally just go. We fill ourselves up with doubt, with we lack self-belief because we're not at the the final outcome, and the process is just hard, especially like you said, when you have to cut off your friends, when some people don't believe in you. Most people give up. I could have easily given up. I could have been like, screw this brand, let me go. Like I went, I got my degree.
Right.
My degree is just chilling. I didn't even go pick it up. I'm not lying to you. Because by the time that I graduated,
you already knew. You was like, I
was with my mother, and I looked at her and I told her, like, I'm gonna pursue this. At that time, I looked at my PayPal account and I was like, whoa, I'm not gonna make this nowhere for doing something I love. So more important, being able to turn a hobby into a career, and now a career into a profession, something that you love doing. It doesn't feel like work to me, and that's why I could talk about this all day. I could talk to my clients all the time. This is something I'm really passionate about.
I love that. I got two more questions personally for myself that I'm very curious about. But again, if you do have questions and you want to get an answer here live, and we got the time for it, feel free to type it in, and we'll get to it. So, one thing I want to know is, you were talking about building your community, right? You have a whole community. You were showing me earlier the group chat you guys have. How are you growing? How are you, I guess, managing that, growing, keeping the engagement, and growing that, because it's a lot to handle as well when you're building a community.
Yeah, like the group chats, I have 3 different group chats. I have like the local kind of New York, more people that I'm close to. I do have an international group chat, and then I have my support group, which is like the wildest one. And I have to constantly talk in all of them. I would say that the network with like my clients is more the reason I did that. And some people don't even use WhatsApp or have Instagram. So like maybe 30% of my clients are not even there. But the ones that are, the reason I did that is to answer like frequently asked questions, to keep them motivated, to kind of check in on them. Sometimes it's quiet, and I get it. Everybody got their day-to-day lives. But the other day, actually, now that you say that, what touched me is I got a text message from someone who I had left in the group chat that was my client, had an amazing transformation, and kind of fell off, went through something personal. And he said to me, he's like, I don't really talk in the group chat, but thank you so much, because all the messages, I read them all. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, what? The last time we spoke was probably 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Wow.
So that right there is like, you never know who's actually needs a message. So I learned, even if they don't talk, I'll still send them something.
I love that. So you're basically keeping them engaged, keeping them going, see where everybody's at, checking in on people. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then it helps them network too. Like if they have an online business, put it there. We motivate each other and to show them all that they can do that. Like there's competitors there. There's people that never step foot into a gym. I put everybody together.
I like that.
There's no excuse.
So the person that just started down here can reach and talk to somebody who's
because they were all there. They were all there at one point. I make their plans. I know where they started. Even these guys that are winning shows, like they started just like me. We started at 0. That's where we all start.
So marketing your brand, marketing God's plan, and scaling it to where you have gotten it thus far. I'm sure there's a lot of things you did right, but I'm sure there's some things that you did wrong as well, or some things that didn't work as well or as efficient. What are some things that were a win? Like what's something that you did whether it was a marketing plan or whatever, some sort of game plan that was a win that helped that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do more of this. And what was something that was like a loss? I'll give you an example. For me, something that we did recently that was a win, and that helped us not only market, but it actually, made us a nice return as well. And it also gave us expanded our network. Was we did we called it Proud to Pay haircuts, where you could come in and pay whatever you want for a service. You could literally, whether you walked in on the street and it was your lucky day, or you saw us on social media and you were like, hey, I've been wanting to check this barbershop out, but whatever, finances, whatever the case may be. And you saw the post that says, pay whatever you want for a haircut.
Yeah, that's dope.
So we had people come in, people came, got haircuts. We were able to give people got free haircuts as well. Dope. Right. So we were able to get some people. So this worked because the belief in the community that we have. So some of the clients that have been part of my community for a long time, they covered for the person who couldn't afford a haircut. So that person who got the free haircut literally just came in and got a free haircut and for the holidays. And I think that worked very well for us. But in your case, what was something that worked? What was something that didn't work?
So probably something that worked, I guess a little bit of both. When I got into making the apparel. So the reason that I did the apparel,
did it right.
So that's one of the hats. Like I have another one here. This was actually a win. Nice. And the reason I did that, I began to do like apparel. I was like, I got to get this logo on some t-shirts, on some hoodies, or just apparel overall. You do apparel, so it's hard to find good manufacturers. It's expensive to find the right ones, and you need to put a lot of time and effort into it, right? The reason I did it was to market myself more. I was like, you know what? When someone signs up, I'll hook them up with a t-shirt, hoodie, and then that way when they're training, they'll post me. And I was like, that's a win, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely was.
Nice.
Because someone will sign up, I wouldn't even tell them. I would literally just ship out whatever. So they'll get like, the little package, got some Fitness, and they're like, oh, whoa. And people were excited to do that. And obviously that's like marketing. And then people were being funneled from their Instagram to mine and to the website. So it was a win. It became a little bit of a loss when I got a little too carried away and I tried to make hats and this and that. And I was like all over the place, right?
Giving apparel brand.
Because it consumes a lot of time. Right. And it was taking away time from my competition, from my clients. And then you can't find the right quality. One product is great. The other one is not okay. So I was like, you know what? To not make this a problem, let me cut down on everything and let me just keep maybe 2, 3, maximum 4 items. So the hats, I kept them. Right, because I love the manufacturer. I got a lot of compliments, a lot of sales on them, so that was definitely a win. Just if you get 2 to 3 good things, and the apparel is not your main thing, focus on your main thing and keep the good ones.
I love
because it could unbalance things. You know what I'm saying?
I bet, and I'm sure it's easy to just be like, damn, this is a jacket, a bomber jacket. Let me just throw my logo on there. Oh, it's some just everything we want to throw our logo on.
Because you get carried away. Yeah. You're putting it on the wall for everything. So it's like, yeah.
So I respect that. Actually, that's something I got to keep in mind too, because I've been getting carried away with the.
If you find, like I said, I was like, I want to keep a maximum of 5 solid items. And every now and then, if you want to switch them because you found a solid one, replace them. But when you're doing 10, 15 different things, it could kind of unbalance your main goal, because the quality is not always going to be the same or whatever. So
I respect that. Yep. So we've been on here a little over an hour, and we started off with the backstory. There's been you got to hear, the vulnerability, the stories, and then we got to hear the background of the business. There's a lot to unpackage, man. I can't wait to rewatch this. I don't know if this is Low or IO. But David has trained my wife and I, and we look great. Over 40, and we look like we're in our 20s. Yeah, let's go. My wife and my mother is the mother of 2. Stay jacked, my friends. Thanks for the turkey, man. That's what's up. So definitely the results are there. I guess last thing I could ask to close this out, and then if you want to get close it out with a few words. What are 2 mistakes right now that somebody that's what do you see 2 mistakes at at the least? It could be more, it could be less, but what are 2 mistakes you see the average person that's trying to get involved into the fitness industry? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? I'm sorry.
What is an individual who's getting into the fitness industry doing wrong?
Yeah, what are their 2 biggest mistakes that they're doing?
I would say number 1. If you sit down and you tell yourself like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, and you accept that, you're actually doing that right. Where it goes wrong is where most people that I talk to, they're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm online reading these forums and looking for advice on some guy's page that could possibly be who knows who giving what advice with no feedback, no results. Because I get that from all my clients. Oh, but I read this. Oh, but I saw that. And I heard this and I heard that. If you're taking advice from everyone, right, and you are not doing your actual research, talking to someone who's a professional, talking to someone, like I told you, who's got the resume, who's got the results, not only are you wasting your time, because you're not going to get results that way, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your effort. And what I always tell my clients is, even if you're the hardest worker in the room, if you're working towards the wrong direction, you're setting yourself backwards. Right. Hire someone, hire a mentor, hire someone who's been there, someone who knows what they're doing, has the resume to show for. Don't hire someone because they have a nice body. Please don't. That's probably, actually, you know what? I'll move that to number 1. I'm keeping it real. Do not hire someone because they have a nice body. And why do I tell you this? And please, my clients, don't beat me up. I've gotten people to an extremely great level of physique, but they'll be like, Coach, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I need you. You know what I mean? Just because someone has a nice body does not mean that they can be a good coach. And I've had these guys tell me, like, bro, they're great athletes, but to be a good coach, it's not about having a nice body. It's about helping hundreds of others transform their bodies. And not just their bodies, their lifestyle, their mindset. The body does what you set your mind to do. And it takes a special kind of individual to to be able to tap into your mind and kind of refocus, right? So don't make that mistake. Don't go on the internet and read hundreds of advices and apply them. You're going to waste your time. Don't listen to everybody. Get yourself one good person. Make sure that they have the results, that they have the clients, and that they have the resume. That way, you know you're putting your money in the right place.
I love that. I wish I could read Spanish. So this is going to have to be you right here.
My Spanish is not. Yeah. Okay. No. I mean, I could.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Shout out to Jose.
Oh, that's my guy, man.
Yeah. I can.
Hermano, de verdad, uno aprende de poco a poco y tu profesionalismo crece uno. Se encuentra siempre gente negativa, pero uno ve otro vicio y tú eres nuestra visión a crecer. Thank you, Jose. Jose is a good dude, man. He's always like sending motivational and inspirational stuff to the group chat.
Okay, cool.
He just reached out one day and he was like, actually, that's probably what he wrote that. He was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need your help. And he was like, I love the results and let's work, which I get that often, right? And I don't really believe anyone anymore because like I always get like, man, I'll be your hardest client and I'm going to like transform and be the Hulk in this. So I just tell them, just get your plan, do the work, and your results will talk. Bro, he signed up, and I think maybe like 8 weeks later, he tagged me in a post, and I was like, holy shit, this guy wasn't playing.
Nice.
He was like shredded, bro. He shredded. He had abs. So good transformation, Jose.
I love that. So, as we close this up, man, it's been an impactful, hour and change. But I guess leave something with the people that they could, take away, and then leave them with where they could find you if they want to get in touch with you, coaching, mentorship, or merch, whatever it is that they're looking for. Where could they find you?
Okay, so follow my Instagram, which is my main platform. It's God's Plan with a Z _fitness. You'll see everything from my coaching to my apparel to all the links of all the services I offer. A message that I would like to leave with all of you, and it's going to sound cliche, but it's not, is really to just, if you have a dream, just never give up on it. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter the circumstance. Your circumstance should never change or determine your goal. Your goal should not change no matter what's around you, no matter who supports you. Doesn't matter who it is. Sometimes it's the closest people to you that will try to literally stray you away from it. You don't need them. God didn't give them the dream. He gave it to you. So just keep moving forward. Literally never quit. And at some point, you're going to win. Whether you lost today, you lose tomorrow, at some point, you're going to win if you stay consistent.
Let's go.
That worked for me. And it's worked for any successful individual, right?
Let's go. Well, you heard it here first, live in the cut. Episode 33. It's been a pleasure. David,
thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
And 1, we'll be back here next Wednesday. And 2, you already know, if you guys need a haircut, make sure you make your way to Live in the Cut. Make sure you check out the website if you guys ever want to pass by and come through and obviously get a haircut for the holidays. And also, if you are a business, if you are a brand and you're looking to share your story or even just promote what you have going on, feel free to reach out to us and we can get you on the show as well. We would love to have you. So other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.